Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are still working on Julius Caesar, and today we get to hear from Mark Antony in Act 3, Scene 2, just like we did yesterday, because we're still at Caesar's funeral, and Mark Antony isn't quite done being tricksy yet. But before we get to that, real quick, if you're enjoying these videos, if you're finding them useful or helpful or slightly amusing or at the very least not annoying, please subscribe. The button's right there. It takes 2 seconds. You just click it and then subscription happens. And then you always get to know when a new video is going up because I don't get to stream them live anymore. So if you'd signed up for like those notifications, you're not going to get them. But if you subscribe, then you'll just see me in your feed, whatever. Anyway, business aside, back to Mark Antony. So at the funeral, first we got to hear from Brutus, who said that he killed Caesar because Caesar had gotten too ambitious and that he loved Caesar and he felt bad about doing it, but that he had to do it for the good of the people so that everybody could be free. And yesterday we got to hear "Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears" from Mark Antony, who began to eulogize his friend Caesar, but then also started picking away at the argument that Caesar was ambitious by saying, Caesar cried when poor people were in pain. He brought back all sorts of prisoners who we were able to ransom, which raised lots of money for Rome. And I tried to give him a crown 3 times and he refused it 3 times. So like a man who does all these things, is he really that ambitious? And then Mark Antony pulls a James Brown and says, "Hang on, I'm a little verklempt. I'll be back in just a second. I gotta get myself together." And while he's getting himself together, some of the citizens are like, "Actually, he makes some good points," and some other ones are like, "Well, I'm not quite there with you yet," and some of them are like, "Actually, no, that's true. He did give him the crown 3 times, and 3 times he turned it down. So maybe." So they're all hubbubbing, and then Mark Antony begins to speak again, and he says, "But yesterday, the word of Caesar might have stood against the world. Now lies he there, and none so poor to do him reverence. Oh, masters, if I were disposed to stir your hearts and minds to mutiny and rage, I should do Brutus wrong and Cassius wrong, who, you all know, are honorable men. I will not do them wrong. I rather choose to wrong the dead, to wrong myself and you, than I will wrong such honorable men." But here's a parchment with the seal of Caesar. I found it in his closet. 'Tis his will. Let but the commons hear this testament, which, pardon me, I do not mean to read, and they would go and kiss dead Caesar's wounds, and dip their napkins in his sacred blood, yea, beg a hair of him from memory, and dying, mention it within their wills, bequeathing it as rich a legacy unto their issue. And then there's more talk from the citizens. But anyway, basically what he's saying here is, yesterday Caesar was this great and mighty man, and there he's dead, and nobody even wants to mourn him. And what I could do is I could make all y'all mad, but if I make all y'all mad about this whole thing, then I am wronging Brutus, who is an honorable man. The repetition of the word honorable and the phrase Brutus is an honorable man, it's one of those, when you say a word so many times it starts to lose its meaning. That's what he's going for here. He wants to keep reinforcing the Brutus is an honorable man thing so that people question how honorable Brutus really is given the situation. So Caesar's like, I don't want to sit here and make you mad, but, little hint, I have Caesar's will right here, and I read it, so I know who he gives stuff to, and I don't know if you know this or not, but a long time ago, there were people who, when someone died, they would take their handkerchief and try to absorb some of the blood so that they would have a piece of that person who died. It was like a weird collector's thing. People would collect blood, or they'd collect hair samples, stuff like that, and hang on to these bits of famous people who had died. And what he's saying is what's in this will would make people revere Caesar to such an extent that they would take these tokens from his body right now and then bequeath those tokens to their children, because what Caesar has put in his will is so great. So of course, once he's done saying this, everybody's like, "We got to hear the will, we got to hear the will." And he's like, no, I shouldn't read it. I shouldn't have even brought it up. It was wrong of me to even mention that there was a will and that all of you are his benefactors. And they're like, wait, we get forget stuff? And he's like, no, I shouldn't tell you. And they're like, you got to tell us now. You have to tell us what's in the will. We need to hear what's in the will. And he's like, all right, you're going to make me read the will? All right, fine. I'll read the will. Let's all go gather immediately around Caesar's body, and I'll tell you what the will has to say. And tomorrow we get to hear what Mark Antony has to say while all of the people are crowded around the dead body of Julius Caesar. Anyway, I'll see you tomorrow for more. And don't forget to subscribe. Mwah.